Okay. Chairman Perkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, glad to have you here.
Thank you. Since we have actually heard this bill twice already, I am going to hit the very high points on the bill, and I am going to call out LC 510363S is what we're looking at. There again, I'm a little uncomfortable and bringing a hemp bill, but I think it is important that we put belt and suspenders on it. CBD and hemp-derived products are not adequately regulated in the state of Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have framed that very correctly. I'd like to reiterate, this is a consumer protection bill, and that has been my concern for many years, is knowing what we're purchasing.
Did someone say they want to purchase some hemp-fueled gasoline? I'm on my way!
This bill, I think, really does a great job. I thank you for your work on it. Some people signed up to speak, but I'm not going to let anyone who's already spoken the other day. I think we went through a lot, heard a lot. If anybody's got anything really different to add to this bill, I see our Ag Commissioner Tyler Harper here. Thank you for coming to the Ag Committee this morning. If you've got anything now or later you'd like to say to a committee, we'd love to hear if you so wish to. But
I'm just going to sit quiet and drink my coffee.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I know there's a gentleman here that came up from Camden County that was signed up to speak last time. I don't know if he's on your list now, but he didn't get a chance to speak last time.
I'd love to have him come. If somebody knew, if you can take a couple minutes and go to that right there, we'll entertain that right now.
I'd like to thank y'all for allowing me to speak today. I know you're working hard on the people's business, and it's no easy task, especially with meetings this early in the morning and only 40 days to get it all done. My name's Cody Smith, and I'm blessed to have called Georgia home for the majority of my life. I'm a small hemp retailer with 3 stores located in St. Mary's, Brunswick, and Savannah, Georgia. We are unique in that we sell only hemp products, no tobacco or kratom like many other retailers in the state. We are exceptionally diligent in procuring and verifying only the safest, highest quality hemp products for our consumers. I believe in service above self, and my company exemplifies that in the charitable works we do in our community. We are not this evil, child-preying, poison-slinging retailer that has been portrayed by some legislators when speaking on this bill and its sister bill in the Senate.
A 10-year-old can walk in a store and get a 100 milligram THC gummy, and it is completely legal right now.
We would never and have never sold products to a minor, and I can't think of any reputable retailer that would. It is also not true that hemp is being imported from other countries like China and Mexico. I have over 7 years of experience in this industry, and I consider myself an expert on what I'm about to say next. Georgia's competition lies right here in America. States' hemp programs like that of Colorado, Kentucky, and particularly our neighbor to the northwest, Tennessee, are eating our lunch. I know we can't fix Georgia's hemp industry here today, but I would implore you in the future to work on modeling our own program after that of Tennessee, where farmers stand to benefit the most, not the processors. I know my time is short, so these are my 4 asks from this committee. I agree that the provision relating to having to be 21 or older should take effect immediately upon the signing of the governor, but I ask that all provisions take effect January 1st, 2024 to allow retailers to transition into compliance without losing invested inventory and find new vendors that meet this bill's full panel testing and labeling requirements. I also ask that if it is the will of this body to impose a 25 milligram per dose limit, that they include a 10 to 15% variance window, as production is not an absolute process. An example would be a gummy labeled as 20 milligrams, but a lab report shows 18 or 22 milligrams. This ensures truth in labeling among products. I ask that you remove tetrahydrocannabinolic acid from the definition of THC on page 6 of the version I have. The most current version isn't available online, and replace it with Delta-9 THC to model the Tennessee hemp program. THCA is naturally occurring and non-psychoactive and would allow more leeway for our Georgia farmers to be competitive in the national market. The Georgia market cannot support this industry alone. And lastly, I ask that you allow our farmers to remediate any hemp produced that tests hot. Currently, their only avenue is to dispose of their crop, costing them thousands. The USDA has an approved process for remediating hemp that involves stripping and disposing of the flower from the stalk and grinding the rest into a biomass that is then retested for compliance. This would allow them to recover some of the potential loss of having to destroy months of hard labor, time, and money. Thank you again for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you for coming and for those suggestions. Do we have any questions for the gentleman at the podium?
Some people say that oil pollutes and drilling into the ground is killing our roots.
Representative Donahue.
Thank you, Chairman. You just said what line and what you wanted to take out and add. Could you repeat that again?
So it's the definition of THC. It was on page 6 of LC 510332.
Right.
That's the only one available online. I'm not sure where it is in your bill.
Okay. And with that, your expertise, I like this bill. I've been for the bill. What I want to see is it done right.
Correct.
And,
yes, sir.
not come back next year. We play this every year, and that's my pet peeve. With everything we do, if we don't do it right, then, we shouldn't.
Correct.
So with that, your expertise, you're saying this is going to help this a whole lot better by taking this out and putting the other in.
Yes, sir. So the definition of hemp products is just delta 9, a concentration of delta 9 THC. But right there, they define THC as tetrahydrocannabinol and tetrahydrocannabolic acid. Since it's naturally occurring in the plant, when you do that formulation, when you include THCA and delta 9 THC, it limits it has more potential for hemp to be hot. It limits farmers, and since it's not a provision of the federal definition of hemp, I'd like to see that removed, and that's modeled in Tennessee's hemp program as well.
And thank the chairman here. I told him that I really like this bill too, but I asked a question, not being a farmer, about when it gets hot, you waste a lot of money, and when it it happens. And you comment on that, but I want to make sure that the farmer comes out really well on this too.
So I want this gentleman to speak because he came a long way, and we should hear him. I'm not in favor of the amendments he wants to change. Although I am a farmer and I know the risk involved in farming, if you've got a hot field, that's no longer hemp, that's marijuana. And I know for a fact in the state of Georgia that's illegal. So there is a way, you are correct, there is a way that you can take that out, that you can take the hot material and work it down and get it legal. There absolutely is.
But for that plant that's in the field, for our sheriffs, for our law enforcement officials, that is no longer a legal product.
At that point, it's illegal. So you can make it legal. You're absolutely right, and he knows.
And that's for another day and another
is.
bill
Yeah,
and another sponsor for that.
Living in a house where you can breathe with your heart and no need to fight wars. Let's keep making art.
But thank you for that. And I would urge you to continue to have dialogue with me or
Don't do a cannabis card.
Chairman Perkle about some of those suggestions, or any member of this committee. But I think we got our bill on the floor.
Absolutely. Thank you, committee members.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for those suggestions. Is anybody else in the audience that has not either prior meetings or feel the need to speak to this bill, anything specific? I see I've got some questions or here. Chairman Meeks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Within lines 57 through the pesticides that we're giving a tolerance for,
That's right.
to my recollection, there's nothing labeled for hemp. Is that correct?
That is correct. There's nothing labeled for hemp.
So if we give a tolerance for chemicals, pesticides that are not labeled, are we encouraging producers to utilize these chemicals that would be
So anytime that you use, aldicarb, that you're familiar with, bifenthrin, that you're familiar with, diazepam that you're familiar with, if you use that, it's going to knock it off the chart here. This is in virgin land, making sure that this plant, like for 3 years, they can still pull it out of the soil. And there's a fancy name for what the plant does in
You're so fancy back there.
Phytomediate,
Representative
but
Merkel, you forgot the
it pulls it residuals that's been in it for a while. This just makes sure that we have a safety profile, but this, in my opinion, does not encourage people to use it because, I mean, if you open up a jug of malathion close to your hemp field, it's going to test positive, so it's not good.
And get your Georgia Hero t-shirt today to keep on educating the public. This lucky legislator, who was one of the first hemp bill sponsors in 2017, no, the bill did not pass, was the lucky recipient of one of our early hemp info t-shirts. Get yours today.
Well, thank you for that explanation. I appreciate that. I was just making sure that we were not encouraging producers to utilize this, which would be in violation of the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Venomicide Act.
Absolutely.
Representative Cannon. Is it?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just had a producer in my district had a concern with how we measure it, and on section 1, lines 33 through 35, we do a percentage weight measurement restriction, and then section 6, 264 through 267, we do a milligram weight. And their concern basically is if the products they sell basically are legal with the milligram weights, their best-selling products, therapeutics, sleep anxiety, seizure control, things like that, and that would be legal for the milligram weight, but then if you apply their products to the percentage weight on THC, it would make them illegal. And they're kind of concerned that that would make their best-selling products now unable to sell because it would be higher than the 0.3% THC level set.
That's right.
And they think that, the percentage weight can be manipulated somewhat, so that's their concern. We talked about it earlier.
So the 0.3% on a dry weight basis does flow directly from the federal language of the 2018 Farm Bill that took hemp from a schedule, to so that's where that 0.3, and I'm pretty set on that. In fact, I didn't even want to include there again. If I'm going to err, I promise you, I'm going to err if I know it on the side of caution, and much to the chagrin of some of the people behind me probably, but and that's okay. But that came directly from the definition. I was not even willing to include language that just said of the federal mandate, because I think 0.3% I'm comfortable with. I have no idea what the federal government might do next year. They could raise it to 3%. And I would be against it, and I wouldn't want this, someone else can come back if the federal guidelines change and make that motion, but it won't be me.
What percentage of product you said it was tested that found that did not comply with what was labeled? Or
JAMA found 24% were accurately labeled.
Only 24, so
that's right. Do the math.
Yeah. A lot, 76. But so anyway, but in lines, I guess 40, starting in line 40, where we're doing a full panel certificate of analysis with I guess a Department of Ag approved laboratory that they and with QR code on each package or whatever that will certify a QR code. That way we'll know what's in the product that we're selling. So I think that's a great addition to this, and I'm glad you finally come around to my way of thinking after your initial vote.
So, Mr. Chairman, I started my presentation by saying, I told you so. It was not ready, but to my friend, you did a lot of work on this, and I do appreciate that. This is a sample product, and I showed it around. Chairman Taylor in the back, she was so nervous this morning, she couldn't get her phone to hold steady enough to do the QR code, but this was pretty. I walked into that one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But I do have, if you like, afterwards to take pictures, see what's in these things, see what is on that label.
Get this evil plant away from me! I don't want to touch it anymore.
So I think we're in a mode to take a motion, and I've got a motion to do pass. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second. And all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 1 no. Bill passes. Thank you. On the rules.
On March 21st, it will be Women in Agriculture Day at the Capitol, and everybody's invited.
Oh All right, all Georgia women hemp farmers, get on over to the Capitol March 21st, 4 p.m., room 450 in the Capitol. While you're there, you can go over to that room and share your thoughts on this bill. It's being heard by the Regulated Industries Committee. All right, it'll be confirmed any day now, so let me know if you have any questions. And those new to me and new to my channel, please do make sure you go over to the Hemp News playlist and check out our very informative documentary, Hempdemic. You will not be disappointed with the knowledge you can learn. Also, if you like this video and maybe learned something, please consider making a donation and subscribing to this team of musicians, performers, and creatives who fund the Georgia Hemp Economic Revival Organization and make these videos possible. Aviva and the Flying Penguins. Please donate here.